had somebody reach out to me on YouTube to ask me if it's possible to use variables inside Dataform, which it is possible. So I figured I'd throw together a quick little video with a very simple contrived example on how you could do that one way. Now I'm sure you can do it through the JavaScript, using JavaScript, but I haven't really played with that, which is something I'll look into after I get done with this one. So I believe they wanted to pass in like a code or something, like maybe a return code of like 400 or 200 or something like that, and then use that inside their SQL. So this example here, we're just going to play around with our elastic billing data and do a roll-up based off of some date predicates that you pass in, a start and end date. So we run a workflow every day to go out to Elastic and grab all the cost data for all of our projects out in Elasticsearch, and then we do reporting on that inside Looker. Obviously you could do all this in Looker if you wanted to, but that's not the point of this example. So it starts off with creating your variables inside your dataform.json or config, JSON, whatever you want. And then you can create a var section here. So in this example, I just have like an elastic start date, an elastic end date, set it to some value that you want. So this is one way to do it, and then you could just change it inside here and commit your changes, and then run it, and that'll just kind of be the default. But a better way to do it is make this parameterize, so you can pass these variables in there. And you can do that via doing an HTTP post to the Dataform endpoint with these variables set. And I'll show you how we do that in workflows, because we use workflows for all of our orchestration stuff. So inside your SQL here for the this example, you'll have all your typical suspects, type, table, unique key, all that stuff. This is the table name. I'm just overriding it because by default it'll take whatever the name of your file name is here. And then this is the tag that you use. Now this will come into play in workflows. I'll show you that to target kicking this off. And then you can see here a very simple SQL statement where we're just getting the billing date and we're summing up the cost, storage costs basically, from the cost dimensions, where the type is storage bytes, and then we pass in the start and end date here. So we just reference these variables that, as I mentioned, are defined in here. Okay, pretty straightforward. So let me show you, let's see, in the workflows how we do that. So here's my workflow. So the way I typically set these up with these kind of like date ones is I'll have like a default. So if nobody passes, if a date, start and end date are not passed in, it'll default to something sensible. Okay. And here we have the start date and the end date, and this just will either get from the arguments the start and end date, or it'll set it to the current date. And then we take these variables here and we use these to set the vars inside the Dataform compilation. So you can look this code compilation config up, but you can pass all this stuff inside there, and then this gets compiled, and the compilation result here that's returned from calling the compilation result endpoint is used to do a HTTP post to the Dataform. Now this is that tag that I was telling you about. So inside your submit workflows here, you can say this is the tag that I want to use, so you can create multiple in here if you'd like. And this is what targets right here, this running. Now inside here you can also have dependencies. So like let's say there's some upstream table that needed to be made sure that was ran before you ran this. You could put all your dependencies inside here, and then in your config here, in your submit workflow, you would just change the dependencies included from false to true, and then it'll go run those first, and then it'll run our roll up. Okay, so once we get the submit workflow, then I just go and pull and wait for the status to either complete or fail. All right, so let's go ahead and kick this off. Now remember, I am not, going to pass anything in, so it's just going to take today's date. So if we execute this, you'll see this. This is where you can add in the start and end date. Let's go ahead and execute this. And then let's go back over to here. You can see the execution here running. And there's my assertions that ran, and then I can view the details. Here's my little table it created. I called it roll up test 1. And then if we look at the details here, we can see the start and end date are pretty much today. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and go back here and let's execute this again. But instead, let's do let's go to the BigQuery table here real quick, just so you know I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. Preview, so we should have like, now oh wait, I gotta refresh because we named a different table here. So here we go. So we just got today. All right, now let's go ahead and do the start date for, take that correctly. Now this is JSON, so it's gotta be valid JSON. That April 1st is the start date, and then let's make the end date today. 04-29. Okay, so start and end date looks Gucci. Let's go ahead and run it. Okay, that's creating that compilation result, and that's going to be passed over to here, the data form. See, it's running. All right, already ran. Let's go look at the details here, and you can see here we have beginning of April 1st to today, 29th, and then let's just go look at the billing data here. You can see that we have all the data in there. So there you go. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. As I mentioned, I will go ahead and see if I can figure out how to do this all in the using the JavaScript, I believe. That might be kind of interesting, but if you're not using workflows, I would imagine you can pass in, you can run Dataform CLI and pass in the vars to do, you do I think Dataform compile, and then you pass in the vars switch and then your key value of your vars, and then you can run it. So there you go. Hope that helps. If you want to see anything else, let me know. Be happy to try to help you guys out. And until then, take care and